Hi, everybody, and we are live. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Allie, the Cosmic Space Witch, and says my internet connection is unstable. So hopefully you guys can still hear me. I've been having a little technical difficulties tonight, but I'm doing the best I can. This is one of my Patreon only videos. I guess it's kind of like a hybrid Patreon and YouTube video. It's the one that I release halfway through the month. But I launched this for my patrons at the beginning of each month, where we dive into the astrology, all of the regular mundane transits. And then I also break down, and this month I really broke it down, all the starseed activation dates. So all of the really important trigger dates for you to pay attention to. My patrons have access to PDFs that they can download that map that all out for them. And you guys are more than welcome to screenshot them. But if you like these videos and you are interested in joining my Patreon, this video is included with the $5 tier and above. And then I have other tiers where we dive deeper into the lunations and like rabbit holes about like Atlantis is the next one. I did one on the 13th sign, and yeah, we just dive into all kinds of interesting stuff. So I'm just gonna check in with the chat really quick. Hi, everybody. Kelly and Chiron and Lindsay and Christy, and I think I see somebody else just added. Hi, Addison. Okay, perfect. I was hoping everybody was gonna find the links. Okay, perfect. All right. So real quick, I just want to share my screen. Oh, that's right. My computer glitched out, so I don't have the stuff open anymore. So give me 1 second here, guys. Canva. It's okay. It was better to come over here. The resolution's better. It's all better. So I know that usually whenever I have these hurdles, it ends up being working out better. The chat's in front of me. I don't have to click back and forth. Okay, so here's my screen. Okay. Share screen. So first, we're just going to go over to these slides, and as we go through them, I'm going to tell my Patreon patrons. All right, Kelly, if at any point in time you can't hear me or it glitches out, can you just text me and let me know? I have my phone right here. But you guys should see my Canva. You should see my slides here. As you guys know, I always have, let me move this out of my way. I always try to like sum it up in like either a sigil or a sentence of like what this month is about. And this picture here does a really good job of summarizing it. On the left-hand side, that is a picture of Sirius. I tried to find an equally as beautiful picture of Vega Lyra, and I couldn't really find one, but they're opposite each other, and they have a sort of like portal type energy where they work in tandem. Sirius helps open our eyes to be able to see truth, so that a lot of the things that played out in Lyra, in Vega Lyra, which was a lot of destruction, similar to Atlantis, which we're going to talk about tonight. So that stuff doesn't happen again. So it helps us to see. Now, the problem is this energy has been occulted. So that star has been used for people to see so that they can make the same things happen again, which is so ironic. But that's why I chose the picture. And then over on the side, I have a little synopsis, and it just says purpose, mission, rebellion, the future, and you. And that's really what the focus is going to be around. We are in Capricorn season, transiting into Aquarius season, and this very much rules our mission, our purpose, our driving force here in this realm, what it is we came here on Earth to do. The energy this month has a lot to do with that Aquarius energy, and then the ruler of Aquarius, which is Uranus, over in Taurus. And a lot of aspects are being made to this planet, and it's really going to have a lot of like revolutionary, rebellious energy where we're going to be breaking free and doing some sort of changes in our personal reality, but on a collective as a whole. There is going to be a lot of unease and social unrest and change and towards the future, but a lot of people in power have different views as to what the future might hold, and they're pushing along with those agendas the same time as we are pushing along with the future that we are envisioning. So we're going to be seeing a big like tug and pull of energy, a lot of squares that are really creating conflict, but needed conflict so that the future that we are birthing right now can come. The conflict has to occur, these tower moments have to occur so that we can move past a lot of stuff and so that we can see into the shadows. And then the Aquarius energy is very much on the future. So we're really, what is it did I come here to do? What is my purpose? How can I build a structure? How can I build it for the future? And how can I come into alignment with what my mission is, Capricorn, and use that for the betterment of humanity, Aquarius? Oh yeah, I forgot this doesn't work here. Okay, so on Patreon, you guys can go ahead and look underneath my post and you'll see a couple of different things linked there. You'll see this is our January astrology all mapped out. The yellow ones are major planetary shifts. The blue ones are our lunations. The 3 ones are like major activations. And then the lives are in pink. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. It might not be too clear, although it looks clearer than normal. I'm actually kind of impressed. And those of you on Patreon have a PDF that you can download, print out, and write all over whatever it is that I mumble along with these. And then for some reason this month, I was called to, and I think I'm going to start doing this. I was called to map out the moon's transits around the zodiac because the moon travels all the way around the zodiac every month. It goes all the way around, a little bit farther actually in a month because it takes 28 days for it to make a full cycle. And so the moon every month comes into alignment with every single starseed activation point. And I had a download because I've been really trying to work with lunar energy because I understand that it is the only place that we can truly integrate a lot of these downloads and really integrate them and understand them is through lunar energy. That is where our intuition lies. That is where being able to feel and discern, a lot of that comes through lunar energy. Not to mention the healing process in general and the shedding that we're very much in. Nobody is fully healed and we're all very much working through things, but I don't want to be tied too much to the hectic nature or like the over emotional nature of it. But I understand that it is where a lot of integration takes place. And so I want to, this is an experiment. I've never done this before, and I want you guys to do it with me and let me know what you think. I want to follow the moon's transit throughout the month as it makes alignments with all of the starseed points and see how I feel and see what comes through and see if I notice anything different. I'm going to check in with the chat here in a second. But mapping out the month, I came across some interesting things, and we will go over this later, but feel free to take a screenshot. Now, I guess, you know what, we can just go through this part now. So the month starts out with the moon aligned with a star in Draco, and it ends with the moon aligned in a star with Draco. With Alpha Draconis. It actually makes its first alignment with Alpha Draconis on the 3rd, and then its second on the 30th. And then the next month starts with activation with the Supergalactic Center. So the way I'm reading this is that the focus of this month is really going to be on the shadow. Draco is very much about tapping us into the we're still, I know the new year started and everybody's like, yay, 2021, new year, new me, and all that jazz. We're still very much in the shedding part of the year. We're still very much in that period between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, where we are purging and healing in preparation for the true new year and the rebirth that occurs on March 21st, 20th, 21st, depending on, I don't know, I haven't checked where it falls this year. But the spring equinox, that's when the astrological new year starts. That's when everything is rebirths in nature, and that's where we are rebirthed and we plant our new seeds. So we're really diving deep into a lot of like past timelines, which we'll talk more about later, but like the shadow and like the underlying energy that we have to deal with in order to break these cycles so the shit does not happen again. And Draco is very much there to show us that. It'll pull us down to the depths to see it, but that is where we find our magic, and that is where we can integrate these very, very lost parts of ourselves. And to me, this month really revolves around this, and all these other activations that take place are all here to help us focus on that. That's my theory. But these are the dates that the moon aligns with all these points, and let me know if they manifest any specific way for you. Let me check in the chat really quick. Kelly says, I've been thinking about moon sovereignty and wasn't sure how. This might be it or closer to it. Maverick says, I've been thinking it's 2020 still. It's still 2020 for sure, Stephen. That's how I feel. Yes, for it. Everybody's for this. Okay, cool. I really want to see what you guys think. And then the last thing that is linked below is this is our major starseed activations for the month. We'll talk more about these as we go along, and probably we'll talk about some of them as we go along, but I'm just going to kind of go over them here really quick. So we have our Sirius alignment with the sun through opposition on the 4th. I've been thinking a lot about how these starseed activations manifest. And my theory, and that I've seen play out through like paying attention and watching how they manifest and how the energies come to me. My theory is that they are just like lunations. So when Sirius or any other star is activated through opposition, that's bringing a full moon type energy. And when a star system is activated through conjunction, it's bringing like a new moon type energy. So this Sirius opposition that's going to be happening tomorrow is going to be bringing a culmination and a release. So we're going to be seeing something, because Sirius really helps us see. Sirius is the star of initiation. If you tap in, it will really help you see. Now, sometimes you can't unsee what you saw. It definitely like illuminates you past the illusion so that you can see a lot of the flaws in this reality, but then, you know, you have that sense of like duty now to where you have to like do something about it. And that will not you until you find the purpose that you came here to help initiate that change. So this is going to be a big culmination of that like aha, of that third eye activation. And then it's also going to demand a purge. So you're going to be shown something, but then you're going to have to let go of something because of what it is that you were shown. Sirius and Vega fall opposite each other. Anytime one is activated, the other is as well. So the sun comes into its exact conjunction with Vega on the 5th. Now, this is a new moon type energy. So this is like a new seed planted, a new download coming through, some sort of new activation coming from this realm. Vega very much represents past timelines. It represents ancient knowledge, ancient wisdom, ancient wrongs, ancient karma, everything from the past. This has the same sort of energy as this Atlantis. This is why we're being pulled into this, because Atlantis is our first portal to this energy. We can't even really begin to fully fathom what went down in the galactic realm before we can even remember our true history on Earth. And I really do believe that us here incarnated now, that is part of our mission, is to uncover this and to remember who we are. We need to remember the history of this planet and the history of the human race. And these kind of activations are here to help us remember. And this new moon energy is going to be starting a new cycle, a new, like, I don't know, rabbit hole, a new understanding, something new, usually with like a higher perspective, to be able to navigate and see something from an area where you weren't able to see before. On the 6th, Venus, the planet of love, the planet of money, comes into its alignment with the galactic center. So this is going to have huge heart chakra activations. Anytime the sun, no, anytime Venus comes into alignment with the galactic center, I really, really, really feel this. I really do feel this in the heart space. I've been following these planets religiously for several years now, and I always look forward to this one. It's going to be, of course, happening in Sagittarius because that is where the galactic center is, or Fucus constellation. And so this is big cosmic energy coming straight from the galactic center, really trying to expand us and connect us to that source energy. And then, of course, it's Sagittarius, so that's ruled by Jupiter. It's that planet, and that energy of like optimism and joy. So it's going to be a day where you're going to really be feeling that coming through. And I do recommend maybe doing my intergalactic meditation that day and like physically channeling these energies like into the earth plane for like others to share, because not everybody is going to be able to tap into this. And those of us who are, really, I've been working a lot with like channeling it through me and into like the physical earth. I think this would be a very good day to practice that as well. And then we have Atlantis retrograde on the 9th, which we'll talk about when we get into the chart. And then these are the energies that we've been feeling for a while and we're going to continue to feel. So we have an Andromeda stellium that is housed throughout Aries and Taurus, with Mars, Black Moon, Lilith, Uranus, and Eris. And this is really bringing a lot of twin flame activations. And it's interesting to see the planets that are there right now. Uranus is the planet of awakening, like shocking awakening and insights. We have Black Moon, Lilith, and then Mars and Eris. Eris is like the people often associate her with like the female counterpart of Pluto, but she's really the female counterpart of Mars. But I think she has that like Plutonian energy about her as well. The symbol is even the Mars symbol, just pointed downwards rather than sideways. So it's that like darker, I mean, I hate to use the word dark, but that like deeper connection. The Mars and Eris, Black Moon, Lilith, those energies, they understand, especially Mars after going retrograde in Aries, the home sign of Aries, with Black Moon, Lilith right there, have been deep into the recesses of the psyche. They understand the shadow. They understand a lot of their karma, the twins, and they're really now open to a lot of like downloads and insights and focusing on the future, which is Uranus, and coming together and out of that darkness and into something else. But this Andromeda stellium has been here for a while and it'll continue to be here. The nodes all month are hitting the Orion Ophiuchus energy, the same ones that was hit by our eclipses. We've been feeling this energy for a very long time, and it's asking us to travel that path from extreme polarities to unity consciousness, which this galactic center alignment with Venus is really going to help us channel in that unity consciousness energy. Chiron is still coming out of a opposition to the supergalactic center. We're still kind of feeling that throughout the month. And then we have a Lyra stellium as well, and Mercury retrograde will be transiting that, and we'll talk more about that as we get into the chart. So I'm going to go back over here and share my screen. Oh, actually, I have to, hold on one second. Kelly says, all anyone wants is twin flame readings, LOL. Yeah, I'll talk to you about how I approach those. Lindsay says, my twin and I are going through the ringer this month. I'm definitely resonating with everything you mentioned relating to the Andromeda energy. These issues we're dealing with have to do with all you mentioned, for sure. Okay. So I need to figure out how to minimize this so I can, okay, there we go. I have to open my astrology software because it wasn't open from before because it glitched. Okay. Transits, that's good enough. Animate, okay. Zoom. Now, what's happening? Okay, share screen. Okay, you guys should be able to see my astrology software. Can you let me know if you can? Oh, wait a second. I have to, hold on guys, give me a second. I have to add my points in and I can't do it when it's animated for whatever reason. Starseed, Atlantis, okay, select, okay, that's it, okay. Making this up as I go, I don't really know what I'm doing. Okay, hopefully you guys can see my chat now, I mean my chart now, let me know if you guys can see that. Kelly says she can see it. Okay, I'm just gonna drink a little bit of water. I'm gonna animate this. Okay, I'm gonna hide the chat so I don't get distracted though, because we all know I will. All right, so I have a bunch of notes. I'm gonna try my best to stay on topic here and just give you guys a brief understanding of the energy that's at play. And then as I start to tap in, you know, my posts will be deeper. We'll dive deeper into the lunations and all that jazz, but grab my thing here. So before we get into the transits we haven't experienced yet, I just really quick want to talk about the fact that on the 2nd, Mars finally finished its retrograde shadow period. So we've been really feeling a lot of Mars energy. Mars has been square Saturn for much of 2020 because of its retrograde. It spent like 6 months in Aries. It's still in Aries now, but it's spent a very long time in its home sign. It's very Martian, very aggressive and angry and like wanting to take initiative, seeing all the initiative it should take, but like not being able to because Saturn has really been there, making it very difficult. It had a retrograde from September 9th to November 13th, where it had to retrace its steps and it had to make a lot of changes and take different initiative and really make sure that it was doing things right. Saturn was there, but he wasn't there to fuck our shit up. Saturn is, I love the way Rick explains it. Saturn is the brake and Mars is the gas. And we were feeling the brake and the gas at the same time, but Mars in Aries is reckless. Mars in Aries is impulsive. I have Jupiter in Aries. I understand that energy. We jump and then we like look back and see like we jump before we think. We oftentimes it works out for us, but it's reckless. And Saturn really wanted to make sure that we were taking the right action, and so he was pumping that brake. And we were forced to re-look at a lot of stuff, and it worked a lot with Chiron and Aries breaking us free, and we've been talking about this energy for a while. we're finally out of that shadow period, and Mars finally knows what it's ready to do. Now we still have squares going on, but we can really feel where a lot of the work that we put in, and now we kind of see a little bit of a path forward, and we're able to take and really feel like we're taking some sort of like energy, some sort of initiative. The energy feels like we can take initiative, like we can move forward. We have a little bit of momentum behind us, where we were very much redoing things and reconsidering and recalibrating and really moving our direction in a completely different direction. Saturn was like, you're going this way, but I'm just going to move you a little bit, and you're going to go this way now. But you're going to have to learn how to do this, 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 and this. So make sure that you're doing that, because now you have to move. And that's kind of where we're at. And that's the main energy that we felt this month moving in, that has already kind of started to come to pass. Which brings me to the 4th. So this is tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a lot going on. Mercury will conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. And we also have our Sirius alignment. So both of these bring very similar energy. We talked earlier about how that Sirius alignment helps us see. Sirius opens our eyes to truth. Sirius is that star of initiation. It's that next level in the initiation process to truth. What are you ready for now? Sirius will give it to you, but it gives it to you in doses as it has activations. Now, the same day that we have the Sirius activation, Mercury comes into a conjunction with Pluto. This Pluto energy, we've had Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn all transiting, making so many conjunctions throughout Capricorn throughout 2020. You guys have heard me talk about how this is the energy that's ruled the plot of 2020. You've heard me talk about how Saturn and Pluto have now left, but Saturn and Jupiter have now left into Aquarius, had their conjunction. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But Pluto stayed behind. And I had a post earlier this month or last month about how once our Sun and Mercury start to come into Capricorn and start to transit all these degrees, where all those conjunctions were occurring between these big planetary bodies that controlled the narrative of 2020, a lot was done in the shadows, Pluto. A lot was done secretive, Pluto. A lot was done by the system, Capricorn, and with dark nefarious agendas that we were unable to see and comprehend and understand, which is the Sun and Mercury, because they haven't been here since before all of this shit happened. They haven't been here since this time last year, January, pre-quarantine, pre-lockdown, pre-New World Order, pre all of that jazz. And now the Sun is going to come into alignment with this point, and Mercury. And this is when we first start to see and understand what the fuck has been going on behind the scenes. That's more on like a mundane level. Now, on a personal level, I have this aspect in my chart. My Mercury and Pluto are conjunct in Scorpio in the 3rd house. So I really understand this energy really well. And I guess you can kind of just think of it as like, oh, that day, everybody's going to be like Allie. It brings like intense mental activity, very intense mental activity with like deep insights, deep truth, profound downloads, intense communication, and just like the ability to dig deep and understand. That's what we're really going to be feeling on the 4th. So if there's something you really want to dive deep into, to grasp, to understand, and you really want that like keen ability to decipher and dissect and comprehend, that's a good day to do it. I don't know how to check the chat, so I hope everybody is good. I'll come and check on you guys in a little bit. So on the 5th, we have our exact Vega Lyra alignment that we were talking about earlier. And this energy, Sirius and Vega very much are connected to America. Both those stars are very active in the natal chart of America, and America is really playing out this Atlantean dynamic, this Vega dynamic, and this like past empires, like the worldwide control that like the new world order is trying to attempt. Some similar thing to Atlantis. Atlantis was not just a island in the sea in the Atlantic. It was a worldwide empire that had outposts all over. And when you get too big, you fall. And these Vega energies that are going to be specifically coming through on the 5th are really here to help us remember a lot of the things that went wrong so that we can do something different. Vega, to me, the downloads that have always come through, the simplest way I can explain it, I could talk about all these star systems for a very, very, very long time. To me, Vega, in addition to making you extremely musically inclined and artistic, great day to really tap into those things and really find ways to incorporate that into your mission and purpose. But it very much rules healing of past timelines, very much so. And being that it falls in Capricorn, a lot of these timelines rule, or like a lot of these timelines revolve around the system and like the matrix, right? And how we can move out of that so that it doesn't destroy us and our humanity. I see that there's some stuff in the chat for a serious day. Can you reshare your screen when you get a minute, Ali? It's still on January 3rd for me. Don't want to interrupt you though. Is it really? Okay. Yeah, I can reshare my screen, I think. Okay, is that better? Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, good looking out. Thank you guys. You're the best. Okay, so that brings me to the 6th. Oh, fun fact, the 5th, I have notes here because I write a bunch of notes and then I forget to say them. And then later I look at them and I'm like, oh, I should have said that. Okay, so the 5th, when we have that big Vega Lyra energy, past timelines, the system, all that jazz, that's the same day that we have that big vote for the Senate in Georgia. We actually have a lot of big things happening this month that fall on crazy days, like the inauguration date. So the 6th is the day that Venus conjuncts the galactic center. We already talked a lot about this, so I'm not going to talk too much about it now, but that's the same day that Mars enters Taurus. So Mars has just got to start to make some sort of like action, moving out of that shadow period, start to take some sort of like initiative. And now it moves into Taurus and the energy very much slows down. It will come into a square with Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius as well later this month, actually about the time it enters it. But it brings a slowing down of energy for us to be able to start to implement a lot of these new actions. But we're doing it in a very like practical, grounded way. In order to build stability. Capricorn season is very much about the structure, about the things that we need here in this reality to fulfill our purpose. And this Mars in Taurus has very similar energy as well, as it's focused on the practical, tangible needs that you need for security. And so a lot of our driving force right now is going to be around building that security. Now, that being said, while Mars transits while Mars transits Taurus, it's going to be activating Uranus, the planet that breaks us free and gives you absolutely no security because we're changing now and we're changing for the future. It just left Aries, where it was already feeling very similar energy of like breaking free from like the norms, a lot of chaos and change. So we're not going to be in that regular Taurus energy. It's still going to be very shocking and changing. Uranus has been here for a while. And Taurus doesn't like to change. Uranus is the planet of change. And so we have a little bit of like a stagnant energy that Mars later this month is definitely going to ignite, and we're going to be feeling very, very heavily. On the 7th, I wrote here a moon transit, and I don't normally put them on the calendar because they're so fleeting. The moon moves so quickly that you don't really feel them. So I don't really feel it necessary to put them into the calendar. But for some reason, this one really called out to me on the 7th, when our moon comes into its opposition with this Uranus point that we were just talking about, in this Andromeda stellium that we have going on right here. The moon is our emotions. The moon is our feelings. It's also our intuitive abilities. And being in Scorpio, we are very much going to be, our intuition is very much going to be like on lock. It's going to be very keen on that day, on the 7th. And I feel that a lot of what this is going to be about, these Uranus activations that are going to be happening later in this month, we're going to be able to start to integrate and feel and maybe understand, particularly being that it's in Scorpio, that deep penetrating scorpionic energy that has the ability to in tune and understand. So that date really just jumped out to me. Oh, and I'm noticing right now that it makes a grand trine at some point throughout the day, with Sirius, the planet that helps us, a star system that really helps us see past fucking illusion, and Neptune, the planet of illusion, in the sign of illusion. So it seems like we might be able to make some sort of breakthroughs that day. I didn't even see this. I didn't even see this until right now. So I must have been onto something when that day just jumped out to me, and I felt the need to write it down. Are we good in the chat? Why can't I see you guys? Okay, it says I'm talking. Okay, we're good. Still learning, guys. Okay, so on the 8th, we have multiple things happening. One of which I actually forgot to write on the calendar, so grab a pen. On the 8th, we have Mercury transiting into Capricorn. We have Venus we have Mercury transiting into Aquarius. Mercury transiting into Aquarius. Venus transiting into Capricorn. And then we also have Mercury, right as it transits into Aquarius, coming into a square with Mars. Now, this is going to bring, like all transits, different energies, different octaves of energy that we can tap into. This will very much bring insights as to what this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction and seed that was planted is all about when Mercury transits these, and also how to kind of take initiative here in the 3D realm, Mars initiative, Taurus 3D realm, and how to kind of like integrate these two. We're going to be feeling extremely like busy mentally, and we'll have a very sharp mind, sharp wits on that day, but it can bring ego and conflicts. So like tread cautiously, try to stay busy. Saturn wants you to be busy. Saturn wants you to be working. Try and stay busy, and try not to get into heated conflicts with loved ones, particularly stubborn loved ones, particularly around a lot of the changes that need to occur right now. We're really going to be feeling this like humanitarian energy of like the future and what it is we need to do. And we all kind of have different views for that. So really just make sure that you are doing what you need to do in order for this vision to manifest. Working with Saturn, trying to see how you can integrate this Mars energy and take the right, Saturn is the right initiative in order to manifest here in the physical. But don't use this keen mental ability and this like busy mental mentality to enter any sort of like conflicts. Definitely try not to get into any sort of heated arguments around that day. So the 9th is when asteroid Atlantis starts its retrograde. The same day, asteroid Atlantis is right here. The same day that, hold on, where did I write that stuff about Atlantis? Oh, whatever, I forget. Oh, I already know. I can remember it. Okay. The same day that Venus trines Mars and Mercury conjuncts Saturn. So this will be an exact conjunction between Mercury and Saturn. We were already kind of talking about what that energy feels like. That'll be the day that it becomes exact, that keen mental ability to like get shit done. Now, mind you, we're in a square to Mars, so we need to make sure it's like the right shit, the practical shit, because it's in Taurus, the logical, tangible shit that's actually going to help us. And then Venus trines Mars that day. So it really is trining our finances. It's trining our values. It's trining our relationships. All of these things are working with this Mars energy. Now, Atlantis starts its retrograde on this day. I followed the retrograde cycle. So it starts here on January 9th at 23 degrees of Virgo. This is in alignment with a star in the Ursa Major constellation. So a lot of downloads that we have coming through right now, particularly revolving around Atlantis, are coming through in the way of like earth energies, plants, crystals, and animal totems, animal guides, animal energies. That's how a lot of these downloads are coming through for us. Now, I had this written down, but I don't have my papers, so I'm going to try my best to remember because I don't want to go all the way in the future. Atlantis starts its retrograde here on the 9th, and it will transit all the way back. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to go that far. It will transit all the way back to about 7 degrees of Virgo. And it will station direct on April 30th, which is Beltane, one of the main 8 solar high holidays on the Witch's Wheel of the Year, a very major energetic portal that has a lot to do with fiery energy of like fertility and rebirth and things like that. It happens in the spring. And it will be in exact alignment with Alpha Draconis. So we have Atlantis transiting from Ursa Major, which is the Big Dipper, which is also connected heavily to Atlantis through symbolism I'm not really going to get into right now, but I will talk more about in my rabbit hole dive on Atlantis. But it's going to be transiting from the Big Dipper, which is Ursa Major, part of Ursa Major, all the way back to Alpha Draconis, and literally stationing on top of Alpha Draconis, which is at 27 degrees. It's this way, my bad. 27 degrees, which is at 7 degrees of Virgo. It will be stationing right on top of that star on Beltane. And I found that extremely significant. Now, while Atlantis is going to be retrograde, it is going to be retreating inwards. And a lot of the stuff that we're consuming right now and have been is going to start to integrate. Oh, I know it already is for a lot of us. Many of us have been bouncing a lot of our downloads off each other. I downloaded an entire a graphic about how things might work. I don't know. I've had so many downloads come through in regards to Atlantis, and a lot of the information that we're consuming right now and the puzzle pieces that we've been acquiring are going to start to come together during this period of time while Atlantis is retrograde from the 9th to April 30th, which is Beltane. It's my dad's birthday also, fun fact. Everybody I know is born on one of those holidays. I'm going to check the chat really quick. Chiron says, well, that seems significant. And Kelly says, oh my effing God, no way. Addison says, I've been receiving downloads regarding Atlantis, really feeling the importance of connecting to Atlantis. Yes, and I'm going to talk about why we have to integrate that first before we can even tap into anything Lemurian or anything like that without like fracturing off. I have this whole graphic that came through and I'm really excited for this Atlantis video that we're going to have next month. Maybe during our cosmic circle this month, everybody can chat a little bit about all their weird Atlantis stuff. Kelly says we need to be friends, Addison. Yes, Addison's new. Everybody be friends with Addison. She says she'd love to discuss Atlantean downloads with you. Yes. Oh, this is like I'm geeking out right now. This is like my most favorite thing in the world. Okay, so we talked about Atlantis retrograde. I think it's going to be extremely significant. A lot of things is going to be integrated. A lot of things are going to be understood. And then once it goes direct, new shit is going to be coming through. So don't feel bad if like you feel like you're just consuming a bunch of stuff and maybe you're like lost in the rabbit hole a little bit, because I feel these are a lot of the puzzle pieces that are going to start to come together once the retrograde chats. Totally. Okay, sorry, Allie, stop getting distracted with the chat. I could just chat with you guys all day. All right, so that brings me to the 11th. On the 11th, Mercury will come into a conjunction with Jupiter. This is the same day as our new moon live, a couple days before our new moon. So Mercury will come into an exact conjunction with Jupiter. It's earlier in the day. I'm not going to make the time exact, but this is when a lot of this energy is fully implemented. Mercury, the planet of our mind, the planet that helps us see, comprehend, of the analytical thinking process, which we're really going to be feeling with a lot of this Aquarius energy. It's very, very, very mental. This is when we start to understand what a lot of this was about on both a personal and collective level, on both what this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction really started here. We're not going to truly understand that for 10 years, but we'll start to get an idea of what this really seeded within the collective around this time as both Mercury and then later the sun transits these points. It also brings like a big mind, a big philosophical mind. And being that it's in Aquarius, that is really going to be focused on the future. What can we do for the collective? What can we do for the future? How can we make this work? And this is all happening right before a lot of Uranus energy. And Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. This is really, if really want to encapsulate the energy of this month, it's really a lot. I know it starts off with a lot of Capricorn preparing us for our mission, getting our structure ready, getting everything, doing a lot of the work, so that once the sun transits into Aquarius and we start having all this Uranus energy, a lot of changes can be made with an eye pointed on the future. Now, keep in mind, the future, our eyes are pointed on in the future. A lot of those in power and a lot of those who can implement a lot of things on a collective level are two totally different futures. So at the same time as we are implementing personal things here in our reality to like step more fully into our mission and purpose and create the reality we want, they are as well. And so we're going to be combating a lot of things here this month within our reality, a lot of social unrest, a lot of Uranus, rebellious type revolutionary energies. Which brings me to the second, when Mercury comes into its exact square with Uranus. So Mercury and Uranus have similar energies. It's said that Uranus is like the higher octave of Mercury. It's that like higher octave of that like a mental energy. And this is really going to start a lot of helping us see in our consciousness a lot of what Uranus has been starting to break free within the systems that are Taurian, which are fixed systems, rigid systems, 3D systems revolving much around money, the economy, capitalism, and things like that. And we're really going to start to see where a lot of things need to be broken down in order to move forward. Our eyes are very much on the future and how we need to get there. Now, this will also involve, unfortunately, because of the reality we live in, a lot of dangerous technological advancements. Both of these rule a lot of this energy here rules that. So we can see Mercury helps us see and understand. So we will start to see a lot of the things that have been implemented around this time. I see the chat. Okay, we're good. Okay, so I just wanted to see if I had any notes written down for that. Oh my God, there's like arrows pointed everywhere because I just wrote a whole bunch of stuff down. So on the 13th is our Capricorn New Moon. I'm not going to dive into the lunation here. I'll have an entire video on that, and it's available with the $33 tier and above. But on that same day, Mars comes into a square with Saturn. Now, we've been feeling Mars square Saturn much of 2020, but that was through Aries and Capricorn. That was where Saturn was in Capricorn and Mars was in Aries. It was a different dynamic. We're feeling it again here with Mars in Taurus and Saturn in Aquarius. And this is going to be energy that we're going to be feeling for a while, particularly the Uranus squares Saturn. This is going to be a major dynamic, the major dynamic of 2021. I wrote here, well, I guess we could talk about that a little bit. I wrote here that the Saturn square Uranus, which is exact on the 7th of November, is going to be a key player really through 2022 because we have retrogrades and we have a second square that happens in December. So really for the majority of 2021, that is going to be the energy we're feeling. It's going to be Saturn square Uranus. Now, a lot of that's going to revolve around Mars conjuncting it, Jupiter energy over here, the sun will come, other planetary bodies will be in play, but for the most part, it's Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus. And this is a very interesting dynamic because Saturn, which is the planet who normally wants like the status quo, wants limits and structure, is in Aquarius, which it was the ancient ruler of Aquarius and still very much is very strong there. Aquarius is the sign of the future, while the planet of the future is in Taurus, a sign that very much does not want to change. So the dynamic is kind of, it's interesting. It's very interesting here. We're going to be feeling a lot of push towards change. A lot of it is going to be ignited. Uranus rules right-wing ideology, which I find extremely interesting that we have a lot of Uranus activations rather than Neptune, which rules left-wing ideology. And a lot of this energy this month is volatile, and it's volatile with Uranus. And so I'm not sure how this is going to play out. It revolves heavily around the inauguration. I have seen things today. I'm just going to pull this up. Oh, I don't have any of my things anymore because my thing glitched. But I saw stuff today about Trump trying to like maybe postpone the inauguration or just do different things, and just expect the unexpected this month. Whenever Uranus is in play, expect the unexpected. It's really hard to try and like predict Uranus transits because they're just so freaking strange and otherworldly and shocking, and they ignite a lot of change, stagnant energy that needs to ignite in order to move forward. And it often does it in a chaotic fashion. And with Mars in the mix, it's definitely going to be fiery and ignited. And it's stuff that Taurus doesn't want to change. It's all Taurian stuff that needs to change in order for us to move forward. Now, this is also going to revolve a lot around our security, our own personal security, which is what Taurus rules. So look and see where that falls in your chart, because you're going to be feeling a lot of triggering change in that sign. Now, I have a bunch of arrows here. What did I write? Oh, try and be slow and cautious, okay? Because this energy is so volatile, we want to try and be particular with our change, okay? We do not want to stay stagnant and stubborn, or the change will not occur and then something will give, like an electrical shock in your reality, and a change will happen without your say. Look and see this area of your life. Look and see what here you've been shown some stuff, and these Mercury squares that are happening earlier in the month and are really there to help you see a lot of this stuff too, and integrate it through some sort of conflict. Squares are conflict. So some sort of conflict might occur that helps you see something here that's stagnant, that needs to change, that you should probably initiate yourself, Mars, or it will be initiated for you, Mars and Uranus. That's kind of where we're at here. Change with the flow, or it will be ignited and the change will occur whether you want to or not. So that's the 13th, which brings me to the 14th, which is when Uranus actually stations direct and our sun conjuncts Pluto the same day. So Uranus, the planet of change, the planet of drastic forward change, has been retrograde. So really he's been not able to do a lot of the things that he wants to do, but he's been very much taking it all in and trying to, that higher Mercury energy, that higher mercurial mental energy has been trying to understand and collect data and try to make the best forward movement that it can. And once Uranus stations direct, that's when a lot of this stuff is going to start to move forward, when we're going to start to be able to be liberated, break free, and ignite some sort of change. Now, this occurs the exact same day that our sun conjuncts Pluto. Now, we talked earlier about how Pluto is the only planet that is left within Capricorn. Everything else has moved on. Pluto has stayed behind, and it is there to do the cleanup. Pluto is the planet of transformation. It's there to transform these systems. Now, Pluto is also the planet of control and power and secrets. And a lot of stuff was done behind the shadows within these Capricorn systems. Now, the sun coming into conjunction with Pluto that day will shine a light in those shadows in order for us to see a lot of the agendas. The exact same day that Uranus, the planet of rebellion, revolution, progressive reform, change, like erratic change, electric change, futuristic change, often revolving around technology. So we might have some sort of like weird techie stuff happen. Happens both those same times. So we're going to see something, we're going to understand something, some deep truth, and the same time that Uranus is ignited. We're definitely, do not be surprised if there are protests or uprisings, and some of them might be very needed. Some of them might just be total like fanatically centered around just like igniting out of pure anger and frustration, and not with a real goal in mind. Or it could be very futuristic and very much needed, and with the eyes set on breaking us free from systems that are holding us back. I don't know how this is going to manifest. We need to get farther into the month, but it's definitely volatile. Let me see the chat. Kelly says the 14th is going to be a super media distraction day. Watch out. Probably. So that brings me to the 17th. I have so many things written over this calendar. It's hard for me to follow along. So the 17th, Jupiter squares Uranus. This is the same day as our cosmic circle, by the way. So Jupiter here in Aquarius squares Uranus in Taurus. Now this, again, is big Jupiter, change, Uranus. Big change. We're going to be really seeing a lot of things happening this month. Big changes that or uprisings or pushes for change that need to occur. Now this energy is also Jupiter mixed with Uranus is really like manic-y and super, like I wrote here ADHD day, like you need to stay grounded on the 17th. This energy is big. Jupiter is in Aquarius, an air sign. It is square Uranus. This is the mad genius, the mad philosopher genius who forgot to eat, forgot to sleep, has like needed to pee for hours, but can't stop doing what it's doing, and is very manic and not really grounded in this reality. So to tap into this mad genius energy in a beneficial way, make sure you're staying grounded on this day, on the 17th. It's very, 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 very needed, particularly because we enter Aquarius season 2 days later. And Aquarius is the mad genius. Aquarius is otherworldly, it's strange, it's futuristic, it's really focused on the collective, but it is that weird air energy that is just so not grounded in this reality, but cares so much about this reality and wants to better it and wants to push forward through humanitarian efforts and what is best for the collective. But in order to do that, an Aquarius needs to ground down. So in order for us to truly manifest these visions we have for the future, we need to make sure that we're staying grounded throughout Aquarius season. And this is my like public service announcement to find ways to stay grounded as we navigate January. Trust me. I'm just going to take a sip of this water. Okay. Which brings me to the 20th, which is Inauguration Day. And I pulled some cards that we're going to go into after this, just a couple of cards real briefly. And it's so funny that I pulled the cards that I pulled because of what I wrote here. It's hilarious to me. So on the 20th, we have Mars conjunct Uranus. So Mars comes in to that exact conjunction with Uranus on Inauguration Day. So Mars, the planet of drive, initiative, aggression, the fiery Martian energy of action, is igniting Uranus, the planet of rebellion, revolution, progressive change, in the sign of Taurus, the same day as inauguration. So I don't know what is going to happen on that day, but something. And it's so funny because when I'm tuned into these things just come to me. And what I wrote here was 2 David Bowie songs. So to encapsulate the energy of the 20th, I wrote Cha-Cha-Cha Changes and Rebel Rebel, because we're really like right in between those 2 Bowie songs. We're tapping into that rebel and that revolutionary and that rebellion, and Cha-Cha-Cha Changes are going to be being made. We really want to make sure that we're standing on the right side of history here, not feeding into the media, not feeding into different things that are trying to deter us. At some point, we're going to have to take collective action, and it might not look perfect at first, but we need to make sure that we're using discernment and we're assisting movements that are actually of the betterment and for the collective and for the future. So we're going to have to be navigating this. I should note that we don't have a lot of Neptune transits this month, which we have been having a lot of Neptune energy, which has a lot to do with confusion and illusion and delusion. I will say that we don't have too much going on with Neptune this month, so the discernment should be on lock as long as we stay grounded in reality and we don't let the crazy mad genius of like conspiracies, we need to be able to tap in and use discernment to navigate, because they are everywhere. But sometimes this Aquarius energy can tend to get like carried away with it. So we need to just make sure to navigate this effectively, that we're staying grounded and questioning everything, which is what I wrote right here. Make sure that you question everything. And a lot of these Uranus and Aquarius energies are here to help us question. They're very much about questioning and being able to see past the wall or the limits of Saturn. Saturn is the farthest planet that we can see with our eyes. It rules this 3D realm. Uranus sits beyond Saturn. Uranus is able to see from that higher perspective. Now, tapping into that while grounding into this reality will help us navigate. Rebel. I said that's inauguration day. Okay, so that brings me to the 23rd, which is when Mars squares Jupiter. It comes into an exact square with Jupiter. Mars over here is still very much connected to Uranus, comes into a square with Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's considered a benefic, and usually when Jupiter is in play, it is beneficial. However, Jupiter can tend to just blow shit up. So if things are already extremely volatile or aggressive or chaotic, which these planets bring that. Now, it could also just, in an ideal world, it could just be action with progressive change. But because of where we're at right now, I don't really see it manifesting that way. In your life, very much tap into this to break free from Taurian things and liberate yourself. Yes, very much so. But on a collective level, this is probably going to be volatile. Now, Jupiter will square that energy on that day, adding more conflict and really kind of like blowing things up. That's 3 days after the inauguration. I'm not really sure how this is going to manifest, but just be mindful as we navigate the coming weeks here. On a personal level, this is successful energy as long as you're not reckless. As long as you implement it properly, you can really work beneficial with even though it's a square, with this Jupiter square Mars energy to really make successful action, as long as you aren't reckless. Both Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius, and Mars, the ruler of Aries, fire signs, are very unfortunately reckless. They like fire, they just go wherever without thinking. It's very instinctual. So make sure that you're kicking back a little bit and taking a little beat to just kind of think things through, and you can make very successful actions around this time. Which brings me, I have so many notes around here, I can't even read everything. It's like a crazy person. Which is very simple. It's so funny that I just said that right now. Because on the 26th, our sun squares Uranus, and I literally wrote right here, the brilliant rebel, hopefully with a cause, but it is that like mad genius. The sun coming into a square with Uranus, those are going to be like just downloads from other realms, very huge insights, understandings, very brilliant mind, focused on rebelling against the system for the betterment of the collective, because the sun is here in Aquarius, the sign of the collective, and we're really rebelling against this energy. But I wrote here specifically the brilliant rebel, hopefully with a cause. We need to make sure that our energy is being put in the proper places for the proper cause. And right now, it's so hard to kind of tell where the right path forward is. And so really just discernment on lock this month. Fucking question everything and make sure that you're getting worked up over the right things. Like Kelly said earlier, false flag. I don't know what kind of narratives they're going to pull on us this month, but definitely distractions, definitely things to get us worked up whenever they follow astrology. So whenever they see opportunities for rebellion, for revolution, like they do almost every July when our sun comes into and the moon will align with Sirius on the same day that we have our sun conjunct Uranus. And Sirius is the star of revolution. I can't even remember how many, I have a whole post on it, how many different countries have had their revolutions and their rebelling against other civilizations or empires during serious alignments. During that period of July, around July 4th, so many countries have had huge uprisings, huge revolutions that have changed their trajectory for the better. And it seems like whenever the astrology is prime for us to have said revolution, to be able to really ignite the change that's needed to break these systems, they tend to bring a fake one up for us to launch onto or latch onto that isn't against them as a whole, but is a scapegoat for a fraction of the broken system that very much needs change, but it will put all of the focus on that and keep us from creating the actual change that needs to occur on a larger scale. So be mindful of this around this time. On the 28th, oh, our full moon live is on the 26th, by the way. On the 28th, we have our Leo full moon, which is going to be a big culmination in regards to leaders. We're going to be having a huge focus on leaders, as well as our creativity and what it is that brings us joy. And Venus conjuncts Pluto on that day. So Pluto, that's been over here in Capricorn, we've talked, these are a lot of still the secrets, things that are hidden, the things we haven't been able to see. Venus is not only the planet of relationships and money, but it is also the planet of values. And I really feel that this Leo full moon is going to have us digging deep to understand what it is that we value and how we can, what it is we need to let go of in order for us to hold on to these values and protect these values, what it is we need to let go of that might be false and ready to be purged and transformed. And then the Leo full moon, the area of your life ruled by Leo, is going to be having a huge culmination, and you're also going to be asked to release in preparation for the, oh, I'm like blanking, for the Aquarius new moon that will occur in 2 weeks. And then on the 30th, Mercury retrograde starts. And this Mercury retrograde is in Aquarius. So it's going to, I have written here, okay. Mercury retrograde is going to start on January 30th, and it's going to start at 26 degrees of Aquarius, which is in alignment with the Cygnus constellation. Now, Cygnus is a very interesting constellation, and it doesn't get talked about enough in Starseed astrology. I actually probably should reference it more often. But Mercury will station at 26 degrees of Aquarius and will transit all the way back to 11 degrees. All the way back to 11 degrees. Does it go back to, let's see, hold on a second, to the 21st. So okay, 11 degrees of Aquarius, I thought so. So Mercury will transit from from 26 degrees of Aquarius back to 11 degrees of Aquarius, which ironically is where the sun is the day that it stations retrograde. This will transit over stars in both Cygnus and Lyra. Now, Cygnus is a very interesting star system. It's believed that by archaeologists that Göbekli Tepe, which is one of literally the oldest megalithic structure that we can date, because it was purposefully buried 10,500 years ago. It's actually been dated at over 12,000 years old. aligns with the Cygnus star system. Göbekli Tepe is in Turkey, and it is believed to be an Atlantean refuge. So that was a megalithic structure that was built after the fall of Atlantis from refugees from that civilization of Atlantis. The mythology of Cygnus is very interesting. The mythology of Cygnus is a bird that is said to travel the Milky Way, and you come in contact with it as you travel the afterlife from the like portal of incarnation, which I believe is Orion, where you split that polarity, you split into this realm of polarity through Orion, which is in Gemini, the twins. And then you travel to the galactic center, which is in Sagittarius, opposite in Sagittarius. And along the way, it's said in ancient mythology that Cygnus, the bird, you meet Cygnus the bird, and you are given like a test that you have to like pass in order to continue on your mission. And like if you don't pass, you have to like reincarnate. And to me, the downloads that have come through in regards to Cygnus are that it holds very, very, very ancient knowledge, as does Lyra, which this retrograde is going to be traveling these degrees. So again, it's the same sort of energy, this Atlantean energy, this ancient knowledge, this wisdom that we have forgotten. We are awakening out of this illusion. We are awakening from our slumber, from this amnesia that has been placed upon us. We are remembering, and this retrograde is really here to dive deep into some of that like ancient connections in regards to Lyra and then the refugees of Atlantis, and the wisdom that they hold after surviving such a catastrophe. Now, these energies are polarized, especially a lot of the refugees that then went and started their own civilizations. They then started it from a very polarized perspective because Atlantis fell after having just so many different polarized viewpoints. They've kind of destroyed themselves and then branched off and started many different civilizations that then, of course, were at war, perpetual war with each other until even present day. So this is a lot of the energy that I believe this retrograde is going to be focused upon. And it starts on the 30th. And again, the same time that we have a lot of these deep, intense, past life ancestral downloads coming through, a lot of these like crazy, unexpected changes happening, that always seem to be paired with transits that are helping us connect deeper with loved ones. So Venus conjunct Pluto, that is really diving deep into strong, are diving deep and making our relationships stronger and more connected on an internal basis. Pluto and Venus together, that is like a deeply committed relationship where you can see each other on like every aspect of them. And then on the 1st, Venus enters Aquarius. So Venus comes to work with this retrograde energy. The partnerships, just like this Andromeda stellium we have going on here, are really what are going to get us through this. Aquarius, this is the collective, this is community, this is the cosmic alliance. I love you guys. This is being there for each other and your friends and the humanity. And then also those close relationships are what really are going to get us through the coming months. I think I kind of went over everything. I'm going to come check in with the chat. Hold on, stop sharing. I have a couple cards that I pulled, but I just want to check in with the chat. Emerald tablets. Yeah, for sure. Lots of memories. Cygnus showed up big time right on. Maverick says right on to that. Such dull work lately, but okay, cool. So I'm glad that resonated with you guys. I have a couple of cards that I pulled and then we'll just kind of call it a night. So I always like to I dive in, I make my charts, I look at the whole month, I try to like encapsulate what it's about. And then I always like to kind of like pull cards to see if I'm like on the right track. Addison says, wow, very powerful month for discovering ways to change what we value, while important to stay grounded. I can already sense downloads are meant to flood in this month. Thank you, Allie. Yes, Addison, for sure. And then I always pull cards to see if I'm like on the right track. And they always blow my mind. Like they always blow my mind. So I don't normally always share them, but I usually always pull cards. But I thought I would share these ones. So I just asked, like, sum it all up. Like, what do my patrons and I need to know moving forward this month? What is it that we need to know? And the first card that came out is Venus in Libra, 7th house, indecision. And then the picture. But it's so weird because the way I read this card was like I split the picture away from like the words and stuff, and I read it in 2 different ways. So first, Venus in Libra in the 7th house, again, that's relationships. Those are what are going to get us through. Lean into relationships, your close ones. I've been talking about this for a while. Don't try to argue with anybody who really has a different viewpoint than you, but you can very much solidify those that do this month. And then in the picture, there's a tree, and on one side there's a woman and she's like in the shadows, and then on the other side there's the constellation of, I assume, Libra, but it looks like Virgo, so I'm not really sure, on the side over here. But to me, it's talking about indecision, and it's talking about indecision in relationships. But that's not how I read it. I read it as the split here, the light and the dark, and then the tree in between, and how I know this is really bad, you guys. I really know this is bad. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you can see there's like light and dark, and then the tree in between. And these are the extremes to me. These are the extreme polarities, the extreme mentalities that we see playing out, extremes. And then there's the grounded tree in the middle. And that is where we need to be this month. We really need to have our roots planted firmly to earth, but pointed towards the future and really growing where we can grow. But make sure you're rooted first. But that's how I read this card. The other card that I pulled from that deck was originality. So it's Mercury in Aquarius in the 11th house. It's really tapping into that futuristic mindset and originality, what it is that makes you different. Aquarius is all about authenticity. It's all about what makes you fucking weird, what makes you different. This is literally your magic. I made a little Starseed activation video, and that was very much my message in that. What it is that makes you different, what it is that sets you apart, that is the magic that you have come to bring into this realm, because that's what we're doing, is we are making it different, and we are making something that hasn't existed before. So if your views are different than the regular spiritual realm out there, dive deep into that. I've been in that place where I kept a lot of my downloads to myself. I tried to write posts the way I thought they would want to go over. And the more I dove deep into the weird shit that I like, the weird planetary points, the things that set me apart, the more I really started to like find a flow, and everything else started to make more sense, and things started to manifest for me. So really this month and throughout Aquarius season, you're really being asked to tap into your originality, what it is that makes you different. And also that like higher mind, that like futuristic mind that's there for the collective. That dude right there. And the mad genius. You can create some like fantastic things with this energy. So then I pulled some cards from the Cosmic Oracle, and I think it is so hilarious and amazing that I pulled this card, because as you guys know, on the 20th, on Inauguration Day, my description that I wrote here was just song lyrics, David Bowie song lyrics, rebel, rebel, and changes. And of course, I pulled the David Bowie card, which is cosmic power. And you can see there's Bowie and like the cosmos. And it says, I am an instant star. Just add water and stir. Even though we're going to be going through a lot of changes and we're going to be stepping into that like rebellious energy to like break free, we can tend to get lost in a lot of the chaos going around. And just remember that you are literal fucking magic. Your magic is you. You're made out of magic. Everything about you is magic. Your reality is magic. And the more you tap into that and really believe, the more you can really embody that energy within yourself. I am an instant star. Just add water and stir. Everything you need is already inside of you. All the stuff I'm saying to you right now is just there to help awaken this remembrance within you. I'm not teaching you anything. I'm just, or me or anybody else, it's just triggering a remembrance. And very much so the Atlantean remembrance is coming through for a lot of us right now. But just add water and stir. You already have everything inside of you. And then the other card I pulled was keep searching. If you do not ask questions, how can you find the answers you seek? Another thing that came through when I first pulled this card was the tree is in the middle because it doesn't want to have to make a decision right now, indecision, because both options are very, very polarized. Whatever it is that might be shown might be two very polarized trajectories. We might have to stand very firm in the middle, very grounded, and in that indecisive energy of Libra that people give Libras a very fucking hard time for. I am a Libra. Yeah, I might be indecisive, but maybe that's because the decisions that I had to make were lame and neither one of them were good. And Libras really just want harmony, balance, truth, justice, and sometimes no decision should be made, and that will be how the equilibrium is kept. So you really want to not be bullied into picking a side if both sides are wrong and the middle path is the way to go. But this says keep searching. If you do not ask questions, how can you find the answers you seek? Be the tree, and continue to ask questions and take in information. The tree grows, it stays rooted, it's growing up at the sky, it's connected to the as above, so below, but it's taking in cosmic information through light codes all day long. And from what it gets, it knows how much it can grow, how much light it has, how much nutrients it has. It's asking questions in theory, but it's not just like it's not taking unnecessary action. It's taking necessary action through the information that it takes from its environment in order to take said action. And that's really where we're at. We're going to be using this Uranus energy to question fucking everything, probably too much so because Uranus is the conspiracy theorist of the zodiac. So probably going to be on a little bit of a tip, but like whatever, Atlantis retrograde, let's dive in. But if you don't ask the questions, how can you find the answers you seek? How will we ever know where the fuck it is we came from, what the truth is on this planet, our real history, if we don't ask the questions? And this month is going to be the month to ask the questions and follow the signs, which brings me to my last card. This card we've pulled, I think, like our last 3 or 4 tarot pulls. And I think I'm also pulling it for clients left and right. And it says signs. The universe has been gently nudging you forward by revealing to you signs and synchronicities. Pay attention. It doesn't say pay attention. I added that part, but pay attention. I don't really believe in coincidences, especially really loud ones. If little signs and synchronicities are occurring for you right now, follow them. These are the puzzle pieces that we're really going to start to integrate once Atlantis goes retrograde on the 9th, especially anything that's like past life or like parallel timeline-esque. A lot of those signs and synchronicities will make more sense later, So if they don't make sense now, that's fine. Just pay attention. The universe is nudging you very, very, very much so. And a lot of what we integrate this month is going to be happening in the heart space. Don't forget, we have that Venus's yearly alignment only happens once a year with the galactic center. Huge heart chakra activation, huge integration of energy. And I talked in my last video about how I practice discernment is really working on connecting the third eye with the solar plexus and having them meet at the heart space. And this month is a really great time to like solidify that like open connection while the galactic center is shooting these codes at us. Kelly says, as a Libra rising, I agree. This applies to my job as a health and safety monitor for Lucasfilm. I feel like I am betraying liberation by asking people to wear masks all day, but I know I'm working on the show is strategic as a starseed. I mean, it's our galactic history. It's about the wars of the stars. That guidance about the middle ground is so helpful. I'm glad that helped. Kelly says, I love the Bowie card. I love that the Bowie card came out. I know, I was like, of course it did. And not being bullied into picking reminded me of everyone always acting like we only have two choices in the presidential race. Exactly. I didn't vote. I voted every single year since I was old enough to vote, even in primaries, and I didn't vote in this one because I honestly think it didn't matter. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry about the glitch. It looks like we're gonna have to do it like this. I don't know, I'll try to see if there's something better, but this worked for now. I'll go ahead and upload this on YouTube tomorrow. And yeah, I appreciate everybody. Our next live is for the Capricorn moon. You're welcome, Christy. And then we have our Cosmic Circle, which is for the $33 tier and above, where we meet here on Zoom, but you guys have your cameras and your audio on, and we just chat. Everybody chats about what's going on with them in their life. And then we just like go around and talk about all the kind of weird stuff we're into, which probably I'm guessing is going to be very Atlantean as we navigate this month. I was actually a little bit bummed when the eclipse season ended because Atlantis was so prevalent in eclipse season. I was like, oh, that sucks. We don't really have any more big Atlantean activations until it conjuncts the super galactic center in August. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I'm like, what? Atlantis retrograde? That's fucking rad. Yeah, Kelly, I do think we are collecting all the Atlanteans, but I think it's a certain fraction of Atlanteans that know they have to do something different this time. Maybe we didn't do the right thing last time, and now we're coming together and we're really want to create the proper change. I think there are other fractions of Atlanteans who very much are not, but I think we're the ones who are trying to really right some wrongs, and that's why we can see a lot of things that are happening and like, ooh, we've been here before. Let's try to do something different, guys, because yes, please, I get Atlantis magic all the time because it's conjunct my ascendant. Yeah, it's conjunct my south node, which is your point of past incarnation. And it's like also conjunct my sun. It's conjunct my south node and my sun. Oh my gosh. All right, you guys, I adore you. I'm going to end this call. I will go ahead and post it on YouTube tomorrow. Don't forget to check out the Starseed activation that I just posted. I edited this little video. It's super magical. I love it. And it's on YouTube. And yeah, I'll see you guys later this month. Oh, let me know, please, 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 please. Let me know if you guys use these Starseed things that I made. And if you notice anything, on these activation dates or all that jazz, particularly the one with the moon, because this is going to be my Squirty. Can you be quiet? My dog has her toy right here and she wants to play. This is the one where I followed the moon throughout the month, and I'm really interested to see how this plays out. So let me know. All right, I appreciate you guys. Bye. Excited to start my first month with your guidance. Oh, Addison, That means so much to me. I appreciate you guys, and we will talk soon. Bye.